He was the kind of man who thought money could buy everything: respect, love, even happiness. His name was Marcus Steele, and he owned half the city's real estate, drove cars worth more than most people's houses, and treated everyone around him like they were invisible: waiters, employees, even his own family. Nothing mattered except his empire and his ego. But on one rainy November night, everything changed in ways he could never have imagined. Marcus was speeding down the highway in his brand-new Italian sports car, talking on the phone about closing another million-dollar deal. He didn't see the truck losing control ahead, didn't notice the wet road glistening like glass under his headlights. And when he finally saw the danger, it was already too late. The impact was devastating: metal crushing, glass shattering, and then nothing but darkness and the sound of rain hitting what was left of his car. When he woke up 3 weeks later in a hospital bed, he couldn't move his legs. The doctors told him the truth with careful voices. The accident had severed his spine. He would never walk again. His face was scarred badly, burns and cuts that no surgery could completely fix. And here's where his real nightmare began. Because Marcus discovered that the people he thought were loyal were only loyal to his money and power. His business partners immediately started moving to take over his companies. His girlfriend, who he'd showered with diamonds and vacations, disappeared without a single visit. His so-called friends stopped answering his calls. Even his brother, who worked for him, refused to help, saying Marcus had treated him terribly for years. And this was karma. Within 2 months, Marcus lost everything. His businesses were taken in hostile takeovers. His properties seized to pay debts. He couldn't manage from a hospital bed. His bank accounts frozen in legal battles. He was moved to a state-funded rehabilitation center where he shared a room with 3 other patients. The man who once had a penthouse overlooking the city now stared at stained ceiling tiles and listened to machines beeping through the night. But then something unexpected happened. His roommate was an elderly man named Frank, a former carpenter who had lost his legs in a construction accident 30 years ago. Frank had nothing: no family, no money, no past glory to cling to. Yet he smiled every single day. He made jokes with the nurses, encouraged other patients, and somehow found joy in the smallest things: a good meal, a sunny day visible through the window, a funny show on the old television. Marcus hated him at first. How could this man be happy with nothing when Marcus had lost everything? But Frank was patient. He would talk to Marcus even when Marcus was cruel, would share his food. Even when Marcus rejected it, would tell stories about his life that were full of hardship, but also full of meaning. Slowly, very slowly, something began to crack inside Marcus's hardened heart. One night, Marcus finally broke down and told Frank everything. How he had built his empire by stepping on people, how he had fired employees without mercy, how he had ignored his mother's calls because he was too busy, how he had never once said thank you to anyone who helped him climb. Frank listened without judgment and then said something that would change everything. He said, "Maybe you didn't lose everything. Maybe you lost all the wrong things so you could finally find what matters." Those words haunted Marcus for days. He started watching how the nurses worked tirelessly for little pay, but still treated patients with dignity. He noticed how the janitor named Maria would stop to talk with lonely patients, even though it wasn't her job. He saw how the physical therapist named James celebrated every tiny improvement his patients made as if they were Olympic victories. Marcus began to understand what he had been blind to his entire life. That wealth meant nothing without compassion. That power meant nothing without kindness. That success meant nothing if you had no one to share it with. He started his own transformation in that rehabilitation center. He began saying thank you to every person who helped him. He learned the names of all the staff and asked about their lives. He started helping other patients, teaching them about financial planning and business skills during their therapy sessions. He used his knowledge to help Frank set up a small fund for the rehab center, making calls to old contacts who surprisingly still respected his business mind, if not his past behavior. But just when things were starting to look up, Marcus received devastating news. The rehab center was being shut down. Due to funding cuts, all the patients would be transferred to different facilities scattered across the state. Frank would be sent to a facility 4 hours away. The community they had built would be destroyed. Marcus felt that old fire return. But this time it was different. This time he wasn't fighting for himself. He was fighting for people who mattered. He contacted every journalist who had ever written about him, offering them the real story, the rise and fall and transformation of Marcus Steele. The story went viral. A documentary crew came to film, and suddenly donations started pouring in. But it wasn't enough. They needed something bigger. Marcus made a decision that shocked everyone. He sold the last thing he owned, a rare watch collection worth $2 million that had been in storage and somehow escaped the legal battles. He donated every single penny to create a foundation for the rehab center, not a dollar for himself. When the news broke, something miraculous happened. His former business partners who had betrayed him were publicly shamed. Some of them felt genuine remorse and contributed to the foundation. Former employees who he had wronged, but who also recognized his business genius, offered to work for free to help manage the foundation. Even his brother reached out, apologizing and wanting to reconnect. The rehab center was saved and expanded, but Marcus's transformation wasn't finished. He started a nonprofit from his wheelchair, teaching business ethics and helping people who had lost everything rebuild their lives. He reconnected with his mother and spent hours listening to her stories. Making up for years of neglect, he became friends with Maria the janitor and funded her daughter's college education. He learned to find joy in helping others succeed rather than in his own accumulation of wealth and power. Frank told him one day with tears in his eyes that Marcus had become the richest man he knew, not in money but in the ways that actually mattered. 2 years after the accident, Marcus gave a speech at a business conference, rolling onto the stage in his wheelchair with scars visible on his face. And he told his story without shame, admitting every terrible thing he had done, acknowledging every person he had hurt, and explaining how losing everything had saved his life. The speech ended with him saying, "I thought the accident took everything from me, but the truth is, it gave me everything that matters. It gave me humanity." The audience gave him a standing ovation, and 3 people in that audience were so moved they started their own foundations for rehabilitation centers. Marcus's story had started a movement. He never walked again, his face never looked the same, and he never regained his massive wealth, but he gained something far more valuable. He gained purpose, community, love, and peace. And every night when he went to sleep in his modest apartment that he shared with Frank, who had become like a father to him, Marcus smiled, genuinely smiled, something he had never really done in all his years of wealth and power, because he finally understood that being rich meant nothing if you were poor in spirit, and being powerful meant nothing if you used that power to hurt rather than heal. The car accident didn't destroy Marcus Steele. It rebuilt him into someone worth being. Someone who understood that true success is measured not by what you gain for yourself, but by what you give to others. And if this story moved you, if it made you think about what really matters in life, then do me a favor. Hit that like button right now. Subscribe to this channel for more incredible true stories of transformation and redemption. And share this video with someone who needs to hear this message today, because sometimes we all need to be reminded that it's never too late to change, that rock bottom can be the foundation for rebuilding something beautiful. Drop a comment telling me what part of Marcus's journey resonated with you most, and remember, you don't need to lose everything to find what matters. You just need to open your eyes and see it.